The things that really worked were, like I said, if someone calls you, you can just say, oh, sorry, no, have you been on our website? On our website, you can actually book yourself. You can choose a slot, which is good for you, and you can select our services there. And that worked so many times.
I am joined today by Stan Fedin, who is the director of FITnFIX's, which is a UK-based plumbing and heating company. Stan's been using YouCanBookMe for 9 years, so a long-time user. We really, really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to talk to us about your business and how you use YouCanBookMe in it. So tell me a little bit first, Stan, about what you do, why you do it, how you got into plumbing and heating.
Yeah, we're just a small domestic plumbing and heating company. We're based in London. So London is an enormous city. It's one of the most populated capitals in the whole world. We can only look after a small section of London. So our capacity of 5 between us, we do maybe anywhere between 10 to 20 jobs a day. So we look after the local area and just a bit further afield. So the areas that we cover is based predominantly in Southeast London. It's manic. It's really every day is full on.
I'm just curious because living in England as well, I know that all of a sudden October hits, sometimes it's September, and you have to turn the heating on because it just gets cold and you realize, oh, there's a lot of dust on the radiator or so is this the busy time of year? Do people finally turning on their boilers and thinking, oh my God, it's not working?
You're quite right. I mean, it's a seasonal business. And we see probably 2 or 3 times more inquiries between August and March, I'd say. I mean, people who are better prepared, they're the August people. And then we have got the panic people who just turn I turned my heating on yesterday and it's not working.
It's really interesting that because there's just an inherent business issue of demand versus your staff. Like there's only so many things they can do in a given day. But if you take somebody on, there's a huge amount of obviously investment in that and training and all the rest of it. But then what if the customers don't come? So that must be a constant battle. And seasonally for you, if okay, do you kind of ramp up a little bit staff wise?
That's the idea. Unfortunately, everyone else is trying to do that. So you'll be hard pressed to find any decent people. And because we're such a small business and the core of the business is really my personal relationship with the business, with the customers, with every employee, with every single job, I feel that I can't just have any person. I need to have full confidence that they will represent us and they will be able to deliver what the customer needs. And at the minute, I'm very happy to have a team that's really, really that they exceeded that. So I've been lucky, but this is also a factor that limits how much we can grow, amongst other things, of course.
So if you could go back to your younger self, what would you tell yourself to do differently or the same?
Sorry, sorry to all my earlier customers, but double the prices. I was working next to nothing. I think in my first year, I've made about £30,000, and it did not change for the next 3 years. Which doesn't make sense. For the number of hours I was working, I could have done a lot of other jobs. I could have just stayed working in HR. So I had to take a cut, and I think a lot of it was down to my pricing, which is being totally off. The other thing is with that pricing, rock bottom pricing, you're attracting the wrong type of customer. You're attracting the customer who's not interested in all of the things that I was trying to bring. They're just interested that I was bringing cheap labor, that I was cheap. So as soon as you stop being that to them, they moved on. These days, we're building up customer base, and we're not expensive by any means. We're still just sort of in the middle of how the local rates are. These days, when we're trying to build on other aspects, so people will wait for us. People will still use us if we're not the cheapest. That is my challenge. That is my role, really, these days, is balancing the finances. It's crucial when you're employing people. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing that I would say is get more help. Stop trying to do everything yourself. And I could still be telling that to myself now. I'm just trying to do too many things. Like, again, the website, I'm still trying to do it myself. I like being in control, but at the same time, there's people who do it better than you.
It's interesting that too. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were saying software is so easy to use today that you think I can just do that in a few minutes. But if you don't use it properly and if you don't have the expertise in it, as you say, what's your hourly rate versus could you pay somebody to get it done? And you could be doing the things you're really good at. You're hiring somebody else to do their skill so you can do your skill.
Exactly. Yeah,
What I
I've,
loved
I've
your
learned from
point
that.
there about being the cheapest, you get a certain kind of a customer. The people who are not willing to pay as much are also probably the most demanding in many ways. And so they become more expensive to you. And so, in fact, there's a way that you should be raising your prices just to maintain that. Again, if you look at your rate, and then you're dealing with somebody who's never happy or whatever, that's really interesting. And I love on your website, I love what you've done with your YouCanBookMe. You've embedded it. You've got your heating and your plumbing, two
Yes.
different pages. You've got all your different types of appointments on it with the prices, with everything. I mean, you're absolutely, what you've just said there is that you give customers a complete snapshot right there. This is what you get. This is who we are. And I was going to say, does everybody wear an orange t-shirt? Because I think I like that because
Dude, you know
I'm
what?
used to I'm used to the kind of one-man band and person coming around, and you don't know who they are. But if somebody's got a bit of a uniform, you think, okay, that's an organization, right? Somebody's behind this.
The things that really worked were, like I said, if someone calls you, you can just say, "Oh, sorry, no, have you been on our website?" On our website, you can actually book yourself. You can choose a slot, which is good for you, and you can select our services there. And that worked so many times. And this literally would save a situation where I'd have to stop work, when I was still on the tools, down the tools, get the diary out. Another great boon was that we do work for landlords. And for landlords, appreciate how much effort it is to look after a property and then deal with the tenant. And it creates this sort of a triangle where the landlord's telling the tenant they need to do something, or the vice versa. And then a tenant or landlord finds us. Then the landlord's trying to book you with us. The landlord's then going back to the tenant asking what their availability is.
Wow.
The tenant's going back to the landlord. The landlord's going back to us. By the time he's come back, that's already good. The slot's already gone.
Yep.
So we were always saying, would you like us to, either directly communicate with the tenant, or here's our link. They can just book it themselves at a convenient time, and it's really worked. And we've got people year on year who just religiously use the system.
So you're trying to keep track of your customers, and they come into YouCanBookMe. You're talking about having a record of them in YouCanBookMe, and obviously that's not all of them. So what other tools do you use in the business other than YouCanBookMe? Do you have a CRM? Do you work on spreadsheets? How do you work? And do you integrate YouCanBookMe with any of them?
Yeah, so we're all about tools. I always think to myself, oh my God, how did they just work with a landline phone before? I would love to go back in time and just experience that. But we use CRM extensively. Yeah, we sit in there for hours, and all the customer information, all the job information, the engineers, it's a daily slog for them to be filling out after each job, that job information, but it's so vital to have all the job details, take pictures, exact timing and when they started and finished the job.
And
And going back,
is that specific for your trade, that CRM? Or are you using a
personally, we're using a very, very generic CRM, and I think when the guys at Zoho, which is the CRM, that they look at our system and we're asking for support, and they're like, "Really, you guys using it for that?"
Yeah.
So much of it is to do something completely different, but I've done Zoho from start. They're the type of thing that really sort of gets my itch in terms of customization. So they do have a way to sync the Google Calendar into the diary, into their calendar. That's literally the connection between YouCanBookMe and our current system. And I've rejected other competitors who will look a bit more attractive than Zoho, simply because I could not plug YouCanBookMe into a different diary.
Let's go to the lightning round. So this is just 5 questions. Would you rather throw out your phone or your laptop?
Fine, yes. Oh, I can't wait.
Would you rather get a new customer or double your sales to an existing customer?
Double sales.
Okay, why?
An existing customer is always better than a new customer, always.
Would you rather speak at a huge conference or make a new sale?
A huge conference, because I've never done it before.
Okay.
I'd love to. I'll probably never have a chance to.
Oh, you never know. You never know. Would you rather work with a team of experts or passionate learners?
I guess team of experts who, if they're really got time for me. Yeah. Passionate learners I've come across before. I love them. Yeah. The guy who I started with, George, has been with us for 7 years. Yeah. Passionate guy. Yeah, love them to bits. Experts are very rare. They're the ones that have time for you. They're experts, but you just someone that they just want to they got loads of people. Yeah.
It sounds to me like you're a passionate learner. So you want to be with experts so you can keep learning and with your apprenticeship and things like that. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been such a pleasure. I'm delighted that you've stuck with YouCanBookMe as long as you have. And I'm so thrilled that it works well for you and your customers, and just wish you the best for continuing to break the mold and trying to do different things, because I'm
Thank you, Kate.
delighted for you.